Hi everybody, and thanks for tuning in. So today we've got something I'm pretty interested and excited about. So right here, we're going to call it Giandel. So we have a Giandel pure sine wave inverter here. It's 1200 watts. It was purchased off Amazon through Amazon Warehouse, which means it was purchased at a reduced price because apparently it's they said the packaging, it's new, but the packaging was a little damaged. It looks like there is a return label here on it, so that's always a good sign, right? I haven't unboxed it yet. I'm going to let you folks be here with me while we tear into it. All right? Let's go. All right, so the reason we got this, we have an inverter already, but we have a modified sine wave inverter, and we run an inverter AC, as well as some other items that they seem to heat up a little bit with the MSW, so I figured that we would try this out. So this particular unit is rebranded. I've seen the same inverter under a couple different brands, so I'm sure this company does not make this one. Looking at the packaging, honestly, I'm not very impressed. It looks pretty thin considering what it is and how it probably gets thrown around in transit. But it looks like it hasn't actually been opened before, so that's promising. This particular unit comes with a remote connection for a power switch here. This is 15 feet. And will come in handy for sure. It comes with two 24-inch 6-gauge wires. It says that these are not CCA, that they're pure copper. I would hope so. We're actually going to test it with these and see what happens with it. Let's see what all they give us. So we get a user manual. Looks like it comes in English only. Input voltage 12. The range is 9.5 to 16. Over voltage shutdown at 16. Low voltage 9.5. Low voltage alarm at 9.8. Continuous power is 1200. Peak power is 2400. Overload is 1300 watts. Efficiency, it says about 90%, so that's that's very promising also. Overheat protection, 65 Celsius, give or take 5 degrees. USB port is 2.4 amps. No load current is 0.7 of an amp. Looks like the cooling fan will kick on at 104 degrees and or load over 400 watts. Operating temperature is 32 degrees to 113. Weight's 5.4 pounds. Well, it looks like we have a 18-month warranty from date of purchase. Looks like they give us a number. Answers within 24 hours. And then the shockproof pad comes with instructions. Here we go. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like the case. I like the form factor of this unit. You know, a lot of people complain online about these terminals. They don't like the fact that there's not a dividing wall or any way to prevent these two from touching, and I do agree with that. However, online these things look really, really, really cheap, and I was thinking about just going down and purchasing like a couple nuts that I could just use instead of these. But these are actually, they feel like they're pretty legit. Yeah, I'm satisfied with these. And as long as, you know, you prevent these items touching. So they've got this ground right here, this chassis ground. I do not like the location of this thing. I'm just going to tell you that right off the bat. I do not like the way that it's right next to this mounting hole. I don't like the position of this power button also. It'd be nice if it was up top. But, you know, those are all just very, very minor things. As long as this unit works, I think I'm going to be okay with that. So we're going to test this. And we're going to test it with 100 amps, which is what it's rated to. So we're going to run this to max capacity with an inverter air conditioner that I know pushes about 90 amps with voltage drop over the wire or with voltage drop over the cables. I'm pretty sure that we're going to hit right at 98 to 100 amps. We'll also have a shunt on this thing as well. So I'm excited. All right. All right, so we've got the inverter installed. I went ahead and put a power meter on the AC side of it. I have not hacked into those factory wires to put a shunt on, just because I wanted to use this inverter with exactly what it was packaged with so that I could give you a really clear view of exactly what's going on with this unit and how it operates fresh out of the box. So right now we got a little bit of sun out. We're pulling about 20 amps, 22 amps. Got a temp gun. Okay, for our load testing, we're going to be using an air conditioner. That's a 9500 BTU dual inverter LG unit. Throw me a post down in the comments if you want to know more about it. Okay, so the button on this inverter to start up, it's done this a couple times. It's like I have to hold it down, and I'm not really a big fan of that. There we go. So, with it powered on, it's showing a draw of 20 watts. And I know that unit is pulling 4.7 watts. So I would say we're probably at about 12 to 15 watts for the inverter. Okay, across the inverter, I have not ran this today. I have not ran this unit. We are 87, 88 degrees it looks like. $88 degrees there. Okay, 89. 89 on the wires. 89. All right, we're powered on. All right, looks like we're sitting steady at about 1,050. If we look at temperatures here, at the lug on positive, I'm reading 125. On the negative, I'm reading 124. Center of the fan, I'm looking at about 120. Looking at the wire itself, in the middle on positive, I'm seeing 116. 117 on negative. At the battery post, I'm seeing 100.
So these wires are definitely heating up under this load. $111. On the actual unit, I'm seeing 130, 132, 138, 140. 145. 152. Yeah, and that is hot, folks. On the battery, we're still at 86. We've got no heat on the battery cells at all. I'm really surprised we're not getting up to where we're going to see overheat protection here. $158. Now let me add that this unit has one fan, and this one fan is kicking. It's moving a lot of air. And I'll see if I can demonstrate with some toilet paper here. Like if you see it's blowing that around. So I mean, it's definitely moving air. I mean, I know that's not the best representation, but there's definitely not a problem with the amount of airflow, but this thing is getting hot. And I'm seeing those temperatures right here in between these two screws. 171, 175. On the wire lugs, 150, 150. On the wire, looks like 127, 128. All right, there we go. Overheat protection. I do not like this button. So over that amount of time, including setup, is 12 minutes, 16 seconds. Looks like we pulled 144 watt hours. What it's putting out right now is 122 volts at 60 hertz. Max is 1072 watts. Here we are 147. It looks like 116. And these wires are hot, folks. These things are garbage. I will tell you that their spec sheet says that 6 gauge is good for this this application, but we're not even pulling 1100 watts. These cables are garbage. Let's give this a shot again. Alright folks, on that time lapse, I don't know if you saw that, but the lights went out, they flickered, and that was actually my controller resetting. I do not know why that happened. So I went ahead and put the AC unit, I went ahead and set it to 72, put it on energy save mode, which is usually what I do anyways. I do not run this air conditioner on full load, max power when I'm on battery like that. I'm just doing it as sort of a bench test for this inverter. Let's look at temperatures again. Okay, our hot spot's always right here. We're at 148. Our real hot spot isn't the wires, it's actually these lugs right here. Like we're seeing 140, 147. And if you look at these wires, 128 on the wires, which I mean isn't great. Obviously you don't want hot cables, but our weak point is actually right here on these lugs. Temperature at the fan, 125. In the middle of the case, 121. Let's roam around here, 131. On the case, 132. At this point, we've been on 9 minutes. Let's go ahead, we're pulling 400 watts. Let's look at some of our other data here. Looks like we're pulling under load right now, 121.3 volts at 60 hertz. Like we're pretty hot right there in the corner. Let's, burning my hands. 126 it looks like at the hottest. The unit's still cooling off. I went ahead and turned our generator on, and the weather actually went from bright, sunny, and charging to torrential downpour. The unit is not online, and it is still, the fans have not shut off. It's been like 15 minutes. And we're not even powered off of this battery anymore. It's been offline now for probably 7 to 10 minutes. All right, what do I think about the Giandel 1200 watt pure sine wave inverter? So I'm gonna start with the pros. And some of these are subjective because of what I'm comparing it to really isn't apples to apples. But compared to what I took down, which was this Cobra 2500, I like the form factor. It's about half the size. I like the digital readout because unlike this one, it doesn't register draw under about 60 watts. This one registers it pretty much anything over, it looks like the lowest it goes is 20 watts. I like the power output. It's 121 volts at 60 hertz. It seems pretty stable, although I don't have a scope to look at the sine wave. Let's talk about the cons now. This unit overheats way too easy. And again, this is very subjective and it's not fair to this unit because I'm comparing it to a unit that's over twice the capacity. But with this Cobra, we traveled in a van with it. I operated it in conditions that were high humidity, very high heat, sometimes over 100 degrees ambient. And I was putting loads that were on lead acid batteries of about 150 amps. And I was actually drawing it down to where I had low voltage alarm, and I was just pushing it, just continuing to push it at those type of loads even under alarm. I ran a 1500 watt kettle every day for tea and coffee with it, and it pushed. I never overheated it. It never burned out. I never burned a fuse. This thing on day one overheated in about 10 minutes of use. With that being said, the caveat to a lot of these inverters, even the Victrons, is that when they're at their max continuous voltage rating, continuous is subjective. It's usually for a certain duration. I don't know what that spec is on this inverter, but 10 minutes isn't continuous in my opinion. I also don't like where the mounting holes are on the chassis, because to get one of the screws in, it's directly under the negative terminal, and the other one is under the ground, the chassis ground terminal. Oh, fan just went off. There we go. About 15-20 minutes. I don't like the heat. I think this unit should be able to pull at least 1,000 watts continuous without overheating.
we're not hotboxing it, it's not in a container, and while it's been up there running, I've got an air conditioner that was actually blowing in its direction, so it was getting plenty of airflow and the fans were moving a lot of air. The wires that come with it are complete garbage. I don't know what else to tell you. Those wires are garbage. So if any of you go to your system and your wires are pulling temps that are 40 degrees over ambient under a 5 to 7 minute load, it's time to upgrade. I would definitely oversize that. I don't care what the charts say at all. When it's 88 degrees and wire temps are at 128 degrees, that to me is a problem. If I can find pure copper stranded wire at like a single aught gauge for like $1 or $1.50 or $2 a foot, I'm gonna link it in the description just so you can go buy some to get around using this crap. It sucks. Don't do it. Is it a good buy? So many things in life have that asterisk. Yeah, like that. This does too. Is it a good buy? Well, if you're planning on running 1200 continuous with it, probably not. However, in my use, we were pushing about almost 100 amps to it. Our battery's BMS is 100 amps, so not only am I really working out this inverter, I'm also putting our battery's BMS to the test as well doing this. I don't normally do that. This air conditioner is our heaviest load, and if I put it on a reasonable temperature, it usually peaks at about 1,000 and then it comes down rather quickly, so I usually don't have sustained loads of a kilowatt like that. If your continuous loads are going to be under 700 watts and maybe you'll occasionally get up to 1300 for very short durations, I would say it's a great unit. If you're going to run continuous loads over a kilowatt, don't touch it. I wouldn't touch it, guys. I really wouldn't. I really hope you appreciate the content. If you haven't already, give it a like, give it a subscribe. Hit us down in the comments if there's something I could have done differently or some other test you would like to have seen done with this unit. Let me know. Maybe I can do that offline or even post a second video of that. Folks, I appreciate you. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Bye.